Whether outdoors hiking or indoors around the house, we've all been bitten or stung at one time or another. The first aid actions for most bites and stings are similar. First, make sure the scene is safe. Get the first aid kit. Wear personal protective equipment. Phone 911. Clean the bite with soap and water. Use dressings and pressure to stop the bleeding. Call a healthcare provider for all bites that break the skin. And put a bag of ice and water wrapped in a towel on the bite or sting for bruising or swelling. There are a few important differences depending on the type of bite. Let's take a look at some of those now. When an animal bite breaks the skin, the wound can bleed and become infected. With animal bites, be sure to wash the wound with plenty of soap and water. And for all bites that break the skin, call a healthcare provider as soon as possible. Apply a bag of ice and water wrapped in a towel to help with bruising and swelling. Rabies in wild animals is most frequently reported in raccoons, skunks, and bats. Dogs bitten by infected animals can become infected. Anyone who has had direct contact with a bat or has been alone in a room with a bat should contact a healthcare provider as soon as possible. If someone has been bitten by a snake, you can sometimes identify the snake from its color or bite mark. But if you're not sure, assume that the snake is poisonous. Signs of poisonous snake bites are pain at the bite area that keeps getting worse, swelling of the bite area, nausea, vomiting, sweating, or weakness. When making sure the scene is safe, be very careful around any snake, even if it's wounded. Back away and go around it. If a snake has been killed or hurt, don't handle it. A snake could bite even when severely hurt or even close to death. To treat a snake bite, do the following. First, make sure the scene is safe. Get the first aid kit and wear personal protective equipment. Ask another adult to move any other people away from the area and phone 911. Ask the injured person to stay as still and calm as possible and avoid moving the part of the body that was bitten. Remove any tight clothing and jewelry, and gently wash the area with running water and soap.
Well, this is what you do. You trim them here and there. See?
I love going with you, Mommy, but I don't like all these bees.
You know, they are buzzing around here. You know what? Let's go over here. Let me show you these plants. Let's smell these roses. These.
Oh, are you okay, Mom?
Oh, gosh. Well, I guess I got stung. Let's go inside because I got to remove the stinger, okay? Let's go. Come on. Ooh. Oh.
Bees are the only insects that lead behind their stingers. If you or someone you know gets stung by a bee, you should look for the stinger and remove it.
Take the stinger out, okay?
Scrape the stinger and venom sac away with something hard and dull that won't squeeze it, like the edge of a credit card or photo ID card.
Oh, that's what you just kind of flick it like that. Oh, there, I got it. I'm going to wash it now, okay? You have to
Wash the sting or bite area with running water and soap.
Okay. I'll put this in my purse real quick. Oh, let me grab ice. Oh, can you grab the towel for me, please?
Here you go.
Perfect. Here you go. Put it on my arm. Okay.
Put a bag of ice and water wrapped in a towel over the area for up to 20 minutes. Watch the person for at least 30 minutes for signs of a severe allergic reaction, and be prepared to use his or her epinephrine pen. People who have had severe allergic reactions to an insect bite or sting usually have one and know how to use it, and they often wear medical identification jewelry. Phone or send someone to phone 911 and get the first aid kit if the person develops a severe allergic reaction, and use the skills you learned earlier in regards to using an epinephrine pen. The bite of non-poisonous insects can cause mild signs of redness and itching at the bite area. However, the bite of a poisonous spider or scorpion can cause a person to become ill. Signs of poisonous spider bites and scorpion stings are severe pain at the site of the bite or sting, muscle cramps, headache, fever, vomiting, breathing problems, seizures, or lack of response. If you know that a person has been bitten by a poisonous spider or scorpion or has any of these signs after such a bite, then do the following. First, make sure the scene is safe. Get the first aid kit. Wear personal protective equipment. Phone 911. Wash the bite with lots of running water and soap, and put a bag of ice and water wrapped in a towel on the bite. Another insect to be aware of is ticks. They're found in wooded areas and attach themselves to exposed parts of the body. Many are harmless, but some carry serious diseases. If you find a tick, remove it as soon as possible. The longer the tick stays attached to a person, the greater the chance of catching a disease. Follow the same first aid actions as those we've just discussed. But the first aid actions for ticks also include removing them from the person's skin. Use tweezers to grab the tick by its mouth or head, as close to the skin as possible. Try to avoid pinching the tick. Lift the tick straight out. If you lift the tick until the person's skin tense and wait for several seconds, the tick may let go. Remember to wash the bite area with running water and soap. If you are in an area where you know there is tick-borne illness, suggest that the person see a healthcare provider as soon as possible, and place the tick in a plastic bag to take with him. Just as it's important to be aware of ticks and other insects and animals when you're in the wilderness, it's important to be aware of marine fish and animals when swimming in the ocean. Bites and stings from jellyfish, stingray, or stonefish may cause pain, swelling, redness, or bleeding. Some marine bites and stings can be serious and even fatal if a person has a severe allergic reaction to the sting or the venom. There are specific first aid actions for marine bites and stings. First, make sure the scene is safe. Keep the person quiet and still. Wipe off stingers or tentacles with a gloved hand or towel. If the sting is from a jellyfish, rinse the injured area for at least 30 seconds with lots of vinegar. If vinegar is not available, use a baking soda and water solution instead. Then, put the part of the body that was stung in hot water. You may also have the person take a shower with water as hot as he can bear for at least 20 minutes or as long as pain persists. Phone 911 if a person has been bitten or stung by a marine animal and has signs of a severe allergic reaction, or if a person was bitten or stung in an area known to have poisonous marine animals. For all bites and stings that break the skin, see a healthcare provider. The hot sun can be fierce, especially when we work, train, or play in extreme heat. If a person doesn't take the proper care, exposure to extremely hot environments can lead to life-threatening medical conditions.
All right, guys, let's watch our pace and meet back here. 6 miles today, guys.
Got it. So what's with all the water?
It's gonna be hot out here. We gotta be prepared.
Have you had some water to drink? You need to be hydrated before you start.
Yeah, earlier. All right, come on, you guys, let's go.
Hey, we've been going for a while. Let's take a water break.
No, this is great. I can do it. Just a little more and then we'll stop.
Dehydration occurs when a person loses water or fluids through heat exposure, too much exercise, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, or decreased fluid intake. If not responded to early, dehydration may lead to shock. Signs of heat-related or environmental dehydration include weakness, thirst, dry mouth, dizziness, confusion, or less urination than usual. If you suspect a person is dehydrated, contact a healthcare provider right away. The best first aid for dehydration is prevention. Make sure a person drinks and eats enough to stay hydrated.
Man, Trevor was right. It is hot today.
How hot do you think it is?
I don't know.
Ah, that's why we should have stopped earlier today.
My leg.
Maybe heat cramps.
Heat cramps are painful muscle spasms, most often occurring in the calves, arms, stomach muscles, and back. Signs include muscle cramps, sweating, and headache. Heat cramps are a sign that heat-related problems may continue to get worse if the person doesn't take action. Follow these first aid steps to help someone with heat cramps. Make sure the scene is safe. Get the first aid kit. Wear personal protective equipment. Have the person rest and cool off. Have the person drink something with sugar and electrolytes, such as a sports drink or juice, or water if these aren't available. And, if the person can tolerate it, apply a bag with ice and water wrapped in a towel to the cramping area for up to 20 minutes.
You want to sit out? We've already gone 3 miles today.
No, I'm good. Let's keep going.
Sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
Hey man, let's stop. Look, I know you want to make this long run today, but you do not look so well.
No. Isn't that what running's about? Pushing yourself?
Hey, man, you're not looking too well at all. Hey guys, come quick. Whoa. Walker.
Beverly, phone 911, and you go to the park office, get a first aid kit and an AED. Walker, can you hear me?
My head.
We need to get cold water on him, quick.
All right, our car, it's close. If we get him there, we can use the drinks in the back. Will that work?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay.
Yes, we're at the parking lot on the south side of Riverside Park. He was doing a 6-mile run with us when he collapsed. Marcus, what was he like before he collapsed?
Heat cramps, really tired. I could tell he was overdoing it, but he wouldn't stop.
He said heat cramps, really tired, overdoing it. We're trying to get him some water now.
Bring your head forward.
Walker, talk to us. You okay? You all right?
I know better. I should have drank more.
Beverly, get one of the sports drinks out of the ice chest.
Okay.
You think you can drink some?
The signs of heat exhaustion are nausea, dizziness, vomiting, muscle cramps, feeling faint or fatigued, or heavy sweating. Take these first aid actions for heat exhaustion. Make sure the scene is safe. Get the first aid kit and wear personal protective equipment. Phone 911. Have the person lie down in a cool place. Remove as much of the person's clothing as possible. Cool the person with a cool water spray. If a cool water spray is not available, place cool, damp cloths on the neck, armpits, and groin. As with heat cramps, if the person is responsive and can drink, have the person drink something with sugar and electrolytes, such as a sports drink or juice, or water if these aren't available. Heat exhaustion, if not recognized and treated, can quickly progress to heat stroke, a dangerous condition that is life-threatening. The signs of heat stroke are confusion, passing out, dizziness, seizures, nausea, vomiting, muscle cramps, or feeling faint or fatigued. It's important to begin cooling a person who might have heat stroke immediately. Every minute counts. If you can't immerse the person in water, try to cool him with a cool water spray. It's important to just start cooling the person however you can. If the person starts behaving normally again, stop cooling him. If you keep cooling the person, it could actually lead to low body temperature. Follow these first aid actions to help someone with heat stroke. Make sure the scene is safe. Get the first aid kit and AED. Wear personal protective equipment. Phone 911. Put the person in cool water up to his neck if possible, or spray him with cool water. See if the person needs CPR. Provide CPR if needed. From extreme heat to extreme cold, frostbite typically occurs outside in cold weather, but it can also occur inside or in a workplace if people are exposed to extremely cold materials, such as cold gases, without wearing gloves. Frostbite affects parts of the body that are exposed to the cold, such as the fingers, toes, nose, and ears. Here are the signs of frostbite. The skin over the frostbitten area is white, waxy, or grayish yellow. The frostbitten area is cold and numb. The frostbitten area is hard, and the skin doesn't move when you push it. When giving first aid for frostbite, make sure the scene is safe. Then move the person to a warm place. Phone 911 and get the first aid kit. Remove wet or tight clothing and pat the body dry. Put dry clothes on and cover with a blanket. Remove tight rings or any bracelets from the frostbitten part. There are some things you should not do for frostbite. Do not try to thaw the frozen part if you think there may be a chance of the body refreezing before you can get to medical care. If you need to touch the frostbitten area, do so gently. Rubbing it may cause damage. Staying too long in a cold, pouring rain or other wet and cold conditions can lead to hypothermia. Hypothermia is another name for low body temperature. When this occurs, it can cause serious problems or even death. A person can develop low body temperature even when the outside temperature is above freezing. The signs of low body temperature may include skin that's cool to the touch, shivering, which stops when the body temperature is very low, confusion, and a change in personality. The person may also feel sleepy or seem unconcerned about his or her condition, or the muscles may become stiff and rigid while the skin becomes ice cold and blue. As the person's body temperature continues to drop, it may be hard to tell if the person is breathing. The person may become unresponsive and even appear to be dead. Here are the first aid actions for a person with low body temperature. First, make sure the scene is safe. Get the person out of the cold. Remove wet clothing, pat the person dry, and cover with a blanket. Phone 911 and get the first aid kit and AED. Put dry clothes on the person and cover the body and head, but not the face, with blankets, towels, or even newspapers. Remain with the person until someone with more advanced training arrives. If the person becomes unresponsive, check to see if he or she needs CPR. Provide CPR if needed. It's important to get the person to medical care as soon as possible. A poison is anything that someone swallows or breathes or that gets into the eyes or on the skin that causes sickness or death. Many products can poison people. Here are general first aid actions to help someone who has been exposed to a poison. First, make sure the scene is safe. However, making sure the scene is safe takes a few more steps when you think a person has been exposed to a poison. Look for spilled or leaking containers. If the scene seems unsafe, do not approach. Tell everyone to move away. Stay out of the scene if you see multiple people who may have been poisoned. Get the first aid kit and AED. Phone 911. Tell the dispatcher the name of the poison if you know it. Some dispatchers may connect you to a poison control center. Give only those antidotes that the poison control center or dispatcher tells you to. The first aid instructions on the poison itself can be helpful, but may be incomplete. Some places have a safety data sheet, or SDS, that provides a description of how a specific chemical or poison can be harmful. It may have first aid recommendations as well. The phone number for the Poison Control Center should be in the first aid kit or prominently displayed in the areas chemicals are used. Contact your local poison center by calling the American Association of Poison Control Centers at 1-800-222-1222. When you call the Poison Control Center, they may ask for the following information. What is the name of the poison? Can you describe it if you can't name it? How much poison did the person touch, breathe, or swallow? How old is the person? What does the person weigh? When did the poisoning happen? How is the person feeling or acting now? If you approach the scene, wear personal protective equipment. Move the person from the scene of the poison if you can, and help the person move to an area with fresh air. As quickly and as safely as you can, wash or remove the poison from the person's skin and clothing. Help the person to a faucet, safety shower, or eye wash station. Remove clothing and jewelry from any part touched by the poison. Use a gloved hand to brush off any dry powder or solid substance from the person's skin. Run lots of water over the affected area until advanced medical care arrives. If an eye is affected, ask the person to blink as much as possible while rinsing the eyes. If only one eye is affected, make sure the eye with the poison in it is the lower eye so that you don't rinse the poison into the unaffected eye. Provide CPR if the person becomes unresponsive and isn't breathing normally or is only gasping. Use a mask for providing breaths. This is especially important if the poison has contaminated the person's lips or mouth. This concludes our discussion of environmental emergencies. By now, you should know how to recognize and provide first aid for bites and stings from snakes, bees, spiders, ticks, jellyfish, and more. You've learned about temperature-related emergencies involving both extreme heat and extreme cold, such as heat exhaustion, heat stroke, frostbite, and hypothermia. And you've learned how to respond safely to poisoning emergencies, whether someone has swallowed or breathed poison, or gotten poison in the eyes or on the skin. The video will now pause so that your instructor can ask you some environmental emergency review questions as a group.